T-Max says everyone has gone plum crazy.
Plum?
I agree with her.
Is that a thing?
Including the kids.
I've never heard it, but it sounds delicious.
Oh man. All right, so
Like for the algorithm.
need you to like for the algorithm, because Blue Ivy, Beyonce's little girl, in response to criticism. Yeah, her firstborn. She responded to criticism in a beautiful fashion. Before we get into this article by People, should we be criticizing child performers? Because as you know, Blue Ivy's been going around with the Queen Bee, as I guess the Princess Bee, just dancing her little heart out. And some people have been like, those dance moves ain't it. And so, do you think that is the proper way to, conduct yourself on the internet, by criticizing somebody who's 11, even though they are performing in front of the masses?
I mean, should we? No. But is it going to happen? Yes. She's in the spotlight. She's Beyonce's firstborn daughter. When Beyonce announced she was pregnant, it was Blue Ivy. Like,
Right.
that it's going to happen. And so these are the consequences of being in the spotlight with the most famous parents in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is what happens. Should we be criticizing a child performer? No, we shouldn't, because we know what that can do to the psyche of a child. We know that's not appropriate. We know it's unnecessary. We know it's not Christian-like at all. So no, we shouldn't be. But will it happen because we live in the world? Yes.
What about you, Kenya? What do you think?
Yeah, that's how I was conflicted, because I was like, no, we shouldn't criticize a child, especially if they're just, living their best life, just dancing away. But then, as Miracle was saying, she is the child to the most famous parents. Her mom is probably one of the best performers. And of course, people are going to compare her to her mom. And then also, people just say mean stuff all the time.
No, that's very true.
So I guess my overall answer should we be criticizing child performers? No, we should not.
I like those perspectives there. Now, Beyonce says Blue Ivy used negative comments about her tour performances as motivation. I like that.
It's not
because
up there, by the way.
It's still frozen right there.
Yeah.
Really? Come on. All right.
It's
Well,
those ads.
yeah. We'll it turned off. Hold on. Give me just a second. Pull this back up here, and we should be back. Okay, there we go. So it says Beyonce says Blue Ivy used negative comments about her tour performances as motivation. Now, I think that is a great perspective, because especially when you're, coming up, and now that's something you kind of learn in sports. It's like, people are going to hate on you. People are going to talk bad about you. In the stands of baseball, people are going to, try to get in your head, the other team maybe, or sometimes the other people in the stands, especially once you get into high school and in college, especially the higher you go up. But if you can kind of learn that, hey, let the haters kind of be your motivators, not to sound too cliche there, then that sets you up for a good mindset of how to deal with negativity when people inevitably talk bad about you. Now, as a child of, Beyonce and Jay-Z, it's inevitable that people are going to talk about you in some capacity, and the people that don't like them are probably going to talk about you in a bad light, whether, it's warranted or not. And so now when you start to perform, especially on a stage of that magnitude, I believe it kind of just open yourself up to criticism. Kind of like if a child, goes on to American Idol or one of those voice contests, and it's like, aren't they subject to the same criticism as, somebody who's an adult that goes on there, because they're trying to prove that they have merit in the same competition and compete. Yeah. There shouldn't be like a handicap. And so from that aspect, I'm like, she kind of, put herself in the big leagues essentially to compete and to be open to the criticism. Now, of course, people on the internet you shouldn't be cyberbullying or, saying comments that, well, some people would say that to their mom or their closest friends. But I mean, we all know that there's just absolute garbage on the internet. There's people that are going to comment just nasty things, and you kind of have to be immune to it. Kind of like this article was saying, not even Blue Ivy is immune to internet commentary. In her new concert film, Beyonce revealed that after her older daughter joined her on stage for several of her Renaissance World Tour stops this summer, the 11-year-old was affected by online critiques of her dancing. The Love on Top singer 42 shared that Blue Ivy read negative comments about her dancing after her first surprise appearance on stage in Paris in May. Now that's kind of sad that like you just have your first appearance and you're excited and you're like, man, I killed it, got to get on stage with my mom, like not even thinking like, oh, this is the biggest performer in the world. I got to get on stage with my mom, and now I'm reading these comments. Now that could really damage the psyche, like you were saying, Miracle, of a young child. So she said that Blue Ivy, whom she shared with her husband Jay-Z, was determined to prove any naysayers wrong and devoted herself to working even harder on her dancing. Beyonce also admitted that the notion of her daughter joining her on stage at all was not something she was particularly keen on. Originally, the idea was that Blue Ivy would make just one on-stage appearance, and even that wasn't a plan that the singer was exactly thrilled about. She said in the film that performing in front of thousands was no place for an 11-year-old. So what do you guys think about that? Think about Beyonce's
I mean,
outlook.
I agree. I mean, I see like why she would say that to protect her child, you know? Oh, that's tough. I don't know. Yeah, that's tough. I see why she says no, and I would probably do the same thing when I get kids and stuff like that. But I also think that allowing her to perform on stage allows her to express herself and allows her to grow in that area if she wants to become a dancer. So, yeah, I guess that's my thought on that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do believe that Blue Ivy used those negative comments as motivation, because if you look at the comparison from the first performance to the very last one, completely two different people. Like that last performance, I forgot what state she was in, but you could tell she had been working really, really hard to get that dance down packed. And she was really, really good at it. She was really good when she performed. So yeah, I think I really do like Beyonce's comments on this, because her commentary isn't leaning towards, well, y'all shouldn't be criticizing my daughter. No, she's being realistic and she understands that's going to happen, which is why she was worried about her being on stage in the first place. She realizes she is Beyonce. She realizes that people are not so nice and they will criticize Blue Ivy just because of who she is related to Beyonce and everything. Right. So, I mean, Beyonce's not dumb. She knew all this in her head, but at the same time, she knew that she couldn't protect her from these type of things forever, maybe. Yeah. And so I think to a degree she was allowing her to go this far, because it's like, well, at some point it's gonna come to you, and yes, I'm gonna be here and be your mom, but emotionally you'll have to grow from this and you'll have to stand on your own like she did on stage. I forgot the lyrics, but it was something about standing with her bloodline or something like that. It was pretty good, but yeah, I think in that way, this is allowing Blue Ivy to really come into her own, and at the same time develop that resilience against those people, while at the same time using that as motivation, as it said in the article.
No, yeah, I think it's good because, like you said, Beyonce has the right outlook on how to handle the situation. It's like, yeah, I'm not too keen on it, but when your child is expressing an interest in something and they're training and working very hard in a particular area, what are you supposed to do? Are you just supposed to shield them from the world? They're already, now, in fairness, celebrities, well, some of them, boister their child out front and, blast kind of their public lives. But a lot of them will keep their children back out of the spotlight until, they get of age to say, to kind of make their own decision on whether they want to go for, being more of a famous entertainment role, or, even if you follow the sports route. So I think she has the right outlook on, okay, I kind of wanted to guard her from this, but because she has this gift and she's been working really hard at it, well, let's give her a shot. And I have what better platform than on my tour? And now that's kind of a gift and a curse, because it's a gift because you got this incredible opportunity, but it's also kind of a curse because it might be too much too soon. But based on this article, it seems like the 11-year-old has a little moxie, and a little chip on her shoulder, if you will, and a great mindset overall to say like, hey, I understand that people are going to talk about me, and I understand that maybe I wasn't even thrilled about my first performance, but hey, I got out there and I did it. And instead of, harping on what people are talking bad about me about, I'm going to give them a reason to talk, about me in a positive light, or I'm just going to shut up these haters in general. And like you said, the article goes on to mention, like, even if you compare her videos from the first time that she performed to, to current day, it's night and day, because she's, put in that work and she's worked hard. And that just shows the grind of a true champion and a true leader, and somebody who's going to be very good in their field, because she's being raised by two people who are essentially the best in their field. Jay-Z is one of the best rappers of all time. Beyonce is one of the best pop singers of all time. And so I think she's kind of following in that kind of mindset and that trajectory.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably why her mindset is how it is, because she's been raised by such influential parents who have dealt with criticism and things like that. So they've probably, even before this moment, they've probably already instilled in her like a level of confidence, and also how to deal with, I guess, like hard circumstances or criticism and things like that. So that's could also be why Beyonce was like, yeah, we'll give her a shot.
Yeah. I can see like a level of maturity with her too. I don't know. It was the way that, because I went to Beyonce's concert in Atlanta, and it was the way that Blue Ivy sort of knew her place on stage. You could sense that she has some years on her as far as her maturity. Like, I almost forgot she was 11 because of how well she handled it. And even reading this article and everything, I can tell that she's going to get really far with the mindset that she's developing right now. Mm-hmm. And that's really good, because these days, a lot of parents like to be very guarded with their children and protect them from everything, and essentially make them emotional babies forever. And so I'm glad that with a child that is on this fame level that her parents have, it's kind of like, I'm glad she's being exposed appropriately at the appropriate times with the appropriate amount
supervision
of
too.
Yeah, supervision, exactly. To kind of allow her to be her, while at the same time growing within that and understanding, like, not everyone's gonna like you just because you're Beyonce's daughter.
No, yeah, absolutely. And the other crucial thing that nobody's really talking about is that she has two parents there to kind of foster her through this.
Two parents.
Right? A lot of people either have absentee parents who are kind of like either pushing them back out on the stage even if they don't want to do it, or telling them to suck it up. But maybe, I don't know what their private conversations are like, but it seems like the conversations are leading to actions that are helping her to deal with negativity in a positive manner, rather than, hey, get back out there, don't care what people think, suck it up, you got to push it to the back of your mind. It's like, no, people are going to talk trash, and you can read it or you cannot read it, but either way, you got to kind of understand that, and you have to use it to continue to make yourself better so that, it doesn't give people a reason to, talk about you in a negative light at all, even though it's inevitably going to happen. So, yeah, you got to use it to propel yourself forward rather than backwards. We have a comment from T-Mac, thank you. It should not happen in regards to, should people be criticizing child performers. People are going to say whatever. The thing is, people don't care. They should think about how it would make the child feel. Now, unfortunately, that's a good, way to approach any situation. Like, hey, before I say this, how would this make the other person feel? And what's the best way to say what I'm trying to say, but in a productive manner, even if it's going to make somebody feel, negative emotions, because sometimes it's inevitable. You're going to have to make somebody feel negative emotions, but you definitely shouldn't seek out making somebody feel negatively about themselves, especially a child, if you can help it. And so if you're, online criticizing how an 11-year-old's dancing, you probably need to go get a life. You probably need to go find something
Absolutely.
productive yourself to do, because she's doing something productive. She's making art for the world, entertainment for the world. She's helping to sell out, stadiums essentially for people's, entertainment and joy, so that they can have an escape from whatever crazy, life that they're having. She's doing something productive. And if you're criticizing that, then you probably need to, look at yourself in the mirror and figure out who
What
the
are
heck
you adding to the world?
What are you adding to the world, and who the
Why
heck
don't
are
you like your own life?
who the heck you are?
Yeah.
But that's just what we think. We want to know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. We'll be right back if you're in the live chat. But if you're not, check this video out next.